Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. Today's guest is someone helping people reconnect with their bodies, their mind, and themselves through movement, creativity, and compassion. JoStewart is a highly experienced yoga teacher, a real yoga specialist, and founder of Garden of Yoga. With over 20 years of teaching experience, she focuses on making yoga accessible, inclusive, and adaptable for all bodies and abilities. She's also the co-host of the Flow Artists podcast and the author of an upcoming book called Accessible Aerial Yoga. Joe, welcome to Conversations with Sekani. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much. Thanks you for that. Thank you for that lovely introduction, and thank you for the work that you do, helping people like live happier, more fulfilled lives. That's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. And yes, Joe, I just want to give you a heads up, right? We're going to be diving into your 20s a little bit. All right.
I'm
So,
ready.
okay. All right. So, take us back to your 20s. What was life like for you when you first discovered yoga and creativity?
So, like, I actually have been creative since I was a kid. Like, I believe that everyone is creative, and sometimes it gets drummed out of us in school, or maybe we think we're not good at drawing or we're not good at making things. And I believe that creativity is about a state of mind, and what you produce is awesome, but everyone has creativity within them. So I kind of grew up going to a painting class, and my teacher was also a yoga teacher. The painting style is called sumi painting, and it has a lot of Zen philosophy as part of the practice. So, like, art had always been like a way of, I guess, working with the mind, getting into that really calm state, being really present. And I just thought I wanted to be an artist when I grew up. So when I went to art school, that kind of changed. And suddenly, this thing that I'd always loved and had helped me feel better about myself suddenly became like a lot of pressure, and it wasn't as much fun anymore. And the art school that I went to kind of had this philosophy that, like, or maybe this was just the teachers, it might not have been the school's philosophy, but a lot of the teachers had quite a harsh approach with the idea that the art world is hard. We're not going to sugarcoat things. We're going to be tough on you because that's what will prepare you for the reality. I actually believe it would be better to resource people to deal with like the challenges that you'd face as an artist rather than just perpetuating that system, which, you have the power to make a change. But anyway, I was suddenly like really questioning if I wanted to be an artist and not feeling great about myself. And that led me to yoga. And that was kind of the first time where I did practice yoga in a class on a mat. And it really helped. Like, it helped me calm down, it helped me feel good. I've never been a sporty kid. So it was like a example of moving my body in a way that helped my state of mind. And also, like, the style that I was studying, printmaking, is actually quite tough on your body. Like, there's a lot of little repetitive movements, like really normal to end up with a sore shoulder and a sore back. And in my, like, I was like 18, 19, and into my early 20s, that was also really the first time I'd experienced that. So yoga helped with that as well. A lot of my artwork at the time was about body image and about identity. So this was the late 90s. Like, if you can remember the media then, like, it was not a good time for celebrating diversity in body shapes. It was very much like the waif era, and a lot of using digital tools like Photoshop to artificially change, especially what women look like in the media. And then that was held up as what you should look like. So I made a lot of artwork about that and kind of commenting on that, pointing out how that system is designed to make us feel bad about ourselves, so we buy stuff. It's not about celebrating who we are. It's about making us feel like we're not enough and to like create a hole within us that we need to fill with consumerism. So that's what I was doing my artwork about. And I was doing yoga to help me feel good about myself. when I finished art school, I thought, like, maybe I should become a yoga teacher, still with the goal of being an artist, but you got to do something else for money. And it felt good to do something that I believed in and would make a positive impact in the world. Though actually at the time I was really just thinking about myself and like what is a job that would balance out some of the artist struggles, some of those like questions about am I good enough? Can I do this? With something where you feel the impact right away as a yoga teacher. Like as you teach a class, it's a really normal experience for people to come up after the class and thank you and tell you how much they're helping you and tell you how much more relaxed they feel after that practice. And that wasn't anything I'd experienced in any of my other jobs. So that was definitely a really rewarding feeling. And I did my yoga teacher training and pretty quickly shifted into I think that I should just do yoga teaching as my main vocation, my passion, like something I love, something I enjoy, and do art as something I just do for fun. Like take the pressure out of it. It's not about trying to make a living from art, it's just about expression. So that was like the journey of my 20s, really. I also I just have a quick drink. I was also in a like long-term relationship, actually from when I was 18 to when I was 26. So coming out of that relationship, I really had the need to like learn about myself and learn about the world. And I did that with a 3 month trip to India. And that
Wow.
was a really, yeah, I know it was like my own personal eat, pray, love. That was a really amazing experience. Like it helped me learn so much more about yoga, really being immersed in a culture where this is not just something that people do for an hour once a week. Like, this is something that people live. I had some really amazing experiences. Like, I got to do a meditation with the Dalai Lama on a mountaintop in the Himalayas with people from all different nationalities. So, you have this little headphone and they broadcast a translation of the meditation into the language that you speak. So that was a really cool experience. I just kind of learnt about how what it would be like to only rely on myself to make my own decisions, to make my own mistakes. I don't even know how I navigated around India because I can't get around my hometown without Google Maps. Like, how did I get around India with no mobile phone and no Google Maps? So yeah, that was a really formative experience in my 20s.
Hey, wow. You know what, Joe? I think you had a really interesting 20s, right? And thanks for, carrying us along with your 20s or to your 20s. Yeah. So, and what stood out for me, right, was the fact that you said back then or now still people art teachers, right, they still make us feel like art or creativity is difficult or hard, right? So I like what you're doing. You're trying to let us know that art isn't difficult or creativity is not difficult. It's just a part of who you are, right? Just show who you are. That's art, that's creativity. So yes, thank you so much for that one actually.
Absolutely. And it can be in any form. It can be in dance, it can be in music. For some people, it's cooking. Like for
Yeah.
some people, it's personal style as self-expression, like making clothes. I did a lot of my own hair coloring in my 20s. It was all different rainbow colors.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, art can come in various forms. That's what I believe they don't know. And yes, everybody has some level of creativity to them as long as you're doing what makes you happy. And yes, for example, yoga is one of those. Like it's a form of art actually. And yeah, talking about yoga, I want us to dive deep, right? So we're gonna do a deep dive. So today you focus on making yoga accessible and inclusive. So what does that really look like in practice?
So yoga is not just about the physical, but I'll start with that. It
Okay.
means adapting the practice to meet your body where you're at. So some of the classes I teach are chair yoga classes. So some of the people who come with mobility aids and wheelchairs. And so it's about thinking about the pose, like what is the benefit that I want everyone to get out of it? And I'll normally share a few different options. So, say with a warrior pose, what I want people to get out of that is that feeling of being strong and grounded. So, that doesn't necessarily, like how the pose looks from the outside, for me, isn't as important as how it might feel on the inside. And it could also be about strengthening a particular muscle group, stretching out a particular place. I do a lot of work just on moving the spine in all directions. And I try and set up the class so that I'll share a pose and then give people options, give them the space to choose within that, and hopefully ask the kind of questions that help people tune into their own bodies and feel for themselves like what's right for them that day versus me as the teacher telling them. Because I feel like that is a really important part of yoga practice, like getting to know yourself, getting to know your body, and also using the body as a way to work with the mind. When I'm teaching my aerial yoga classes, I have a big helper in the prop of the aerial hammock. As I mentioned, in a lot of my classes, I have people with different mobility issues. Sometimes it's not possible to get down on the floor. And the chair gives a lot of options, but the hammock gives even more options. It's a way of bringing the floor up. So you can lie in it like a hammock and do all those different spine movements that I mentioned in this like supported cocooning fabric. And with that, it can really help people feel supported, feel calm. A lot of people who say have a disability, or even people who are a bit bigger or a bit older than the other people in the class, have come up against negative experiences in fitness spaces and in yoga spaces sometimes, which is really unfortunate because this should be a safe space, no matter what size you are, what age you are. Like, this is a practice for everyone. So I try and bring a message of self-love and self-acceptance into my practice. And I don't believe being able to stretch your leg further makes you a better person. I think that it's just about doing the pose in a way where you feel the benefits. And it can be like rewarding and satisfying to feel changes. Like if you have an area of your body that's tight, it can feel good to stretch it out. If you don't feel stable as you move around the world, it can be really empowering to improve your balance and so that you do feel more comfortable in your everyday movements. But I'm more about those kind of functional results rather than doing the pose because it looks cool or because it looks the way that the teacher's doing it or the person next to you is doing it. Like, I don't feel like that is a helpful aspect of yoga practice. I feel like we've got a lot of pressure in our everyday lives, and this is the antidote to that. It shouldn't be another type of pressure. You shouldn't have to feel like you're good at yoga to get the benefits, because if you are feeling the benefits, that means you're doing it right. That means you're good at it. And the other way that the aerial yoga hammock can help me with that is sometimes meditation is actually really challenging. Like, it doesn't always feel relaxing. And especially for people who might be neurodivergent, a lot of my students are autistic or have ADHD, find being still stressful. The effort to try and keep your body still when it wants to move can feel like a massive distraction. And if everyone is in a hammock, you can move and no one else will even see it. So if moving helps you regulate, there's space for that. If you need to be in a different position to feel comfortable, not everyone's feeling comfortable sitting cross-legged on the floor. You can sit in the hammock, you can lie down in it, you can find your own way into your most comfortable body position. And then that helps with all of the state of mind benefits. And I feel like that is when the real yoga kicks in. When you know yourself, when you can practice these like different techniques in a way that works for you, and you have the ability to feel like, is this working for me today? Or maybe do I need to do something different? Or maybe do I need to do this same practice, but in a less intense way? And I feel like that is advanced yoga practice.
Right. Wow. Okay, so thank you so much. I feel like I've learned a lot, right? Especially concerning yoga. And one thing I really do appreciate is the fact that your yoga is inclusive, right? Because like you said, over time or before now, people make it seem like some kind of activities are only for some certain sizes, right? Or age. But now you try to make everybody feel that self-acceptance, right? So yes, that's amazing actually. And yeah, it brings me to this one question, right? So let's say for someone completely new to yoga, especially someone who feels like it's not for them, right? How can they get started in a way that feels safe and realistic?
I would seek out someone in the accessible yoga community. So Jivana Heyman is the founder of Accessible Yoga. He is one of my personal yoga heroes. And actually, he wrote the foreword for my book as well. So I'm really grateful for everything that he's taught me. And I've done his accessible yoga teacher training, and that is what it's all about. It's all about making everyone feel welcome, celebrating the uniqueness of who everyone is, bringing the yoga philosophy into practice. Like there's a lot of social justice that he connects like current day issues back to yoga philosophy, and I found his work to be really helpful to help me find like peace when like with everything going on in the world today, and maybe a path to like what I can do to make a positive impact. So I would definitely seek out someone from the accessible yoga community. If that's not like there's no one near you like that, I'd look at the studio's Google reviews because often if it is a really welcoming studio, people share about that in the reviews, and like that can be a good way of like getting the vibe, seeing if you're going to feel welcome there. Also, if you're looking on the studio website, look at who they've got teaching there. Like, do they have a diversity of different staff, people from different backgrounds, different sizes, different, like, diversity in all forms? I feel like if they've got a really diverse teaching team, they're going to be welcoming to a lot of different people. But if everyone in that studio looks a certain way and they're all doing really hard yoga poses in their photos, that doesn't send a welcoming message to me. And I feel like it's just one of those ways where you can just kind of get a vibe of what that studio is all about by looking at how they express themselves on their social media and on their website.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I'll move to ask this one, right? So, what are you currently working on, especially with your upcoming book, right? That what are you working on that excites you the most, and what are you looking to do or impact? What impact are you looking to, do in the future, like on people and communities, basically?
So yeah, like I really am focusing on my book at the moment. It's called Eight Limbs of Aerial Yoga, adapting practice for accessibility, neurodiversity, and physical support. And I'm doing what I'm doing right now. Like I'm talking to a lot of different people about the book. I'm sharing about it. I'm hoping to have some in-person launch events and online as well. And this like none of this is planned yet, but I would actually love to go to different aerial yoga studios. There's not that many of them. Like the aerial yoga community is quite fragmented. Like it's a pretty normal experience to do what I did, which is to go to a teacher training in a different city. And then when you come back to your hometown, you don't necessarily have a local class that you can go to learn more, or like that local network of teachers like I have with my other yoga practice, where you can just have a coffee with a friend who's also a teacher and kind of talk about like ideas and things that might have come up in class and just get that peer mentoring. So, what I would love to do from my book is to create more of a global community for aerial yoga teachers, because we might not be able to have that coffee in person, but maybe we could connect more online. And like that's actually one of my goals with my book, to really create a little bit more of a global community for teachers, and especially for teachers who are working like I am in the more accessible aspects of the practice, because that's not often a big part of a lot of teacher trainings. Like a lot of the trainings are quite short and they really just focus on the different types of moves that you can do in the hammock. So I'd love to kind of share what I've learned from the people that I work with and also to bring them into the community as well because they have a lived experience that goes way beyond what I know as a teacher. So, say if a question comes up with someone in class who's working with a particular condition, or maybe you're just looking for ideas that could be helpful for that person. If you were able to connect with a lot of other people from that community and hear from them what works for them and what doesn't work for them, I feel like that would be a really helpful aspect of just enhancing everyone's awareness about how we can use this practice to help diverse people with diverse needs and just create more ways to learn from each other. Like that would really be my ultimate goal with this book.
All right. Wow. That's amazing, actually. And I really hope you do reach your goal, right? Because, yeah, looking at it, you're trying to help people, which is important, actually, to help people. Because the guest I just spoke with before now, he said, try to help people. That's very important in life. And that's exactly what you're trying to do. And I really do hope you reach your goals. Although you're working on it already, you're reaching it already because you just you reached.
Oh, work in progress for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you so much, Joe. And
Oh,
I
you're
have this.
welcome.
All right. So my final question for you is for people in their 20s, right? Because that is the purpose of my podcast to seek advice from professionals, right? Or experts like you. All right. So if you could give one honest piece of advice to someone in their 20s trying to find balance, confidence, and clarity in life, what would it be?
I feel like try to make best friends with yourself. I think the way that we talk to ourselves can often be so different to the way that we talk to people that we love. And we can be way harsher on ourselves. And if you're against yourself, it just makes your existence in the world so much harder. If you're on your own team and like sometimes when we talk to our friends, it's not all just being a cheerleader. Like sometimes it's having a real conversation, but we always have their best interests in heart. Like we love them. We want them to do well in the world. We want the best for them. And I think sometimes, especially in your 20s, where it's a really transitional time in your life, a lot of it is learning to be independent. There's going to be some disappointments and you're probably going to try some different things and not all of them will work out. But if you're on your own team and you're kind to yourself, that is going to help you through that process so much more than like kicking yourself when you're down or just being hard on yourself when there's already like the world isn't easy at the moment. So if you are kind and loving to yourself, it gives you so much more energy to send that outwards. But if you are like having a war with yourself, then that takes up so much headspace and so much energy, and it gets in the way of anything else that you would be able to do in the world because, like, you're literally making it harder. And it's something that's like easy to say, but it can be a challenge to practice. So I would focus on the things that do help you feel good about yourself. So yoga was one of those things for me. Like art and creativity was something that I had a bit of a journey with, but got back into doing that as something that felt fun and nurturing. And I feel like see if you can look into your life and see those things that like light you up and lift you up and give you energy and do more of that. And sometimes it doesn't end up being your money job, but even if it's just something that you're doing for you, like that's so powerful.
Wow. All right. Thank you so much for that, Warren. Actually, I feel it's important, right? You said become best friends with yourself, meaning you should show more love to yourself, practice self-love, right? Treat yourself the way you want to be treated. You have to treat yourself first, and that can, show up in different ways in form of art and creativity as long as you're showing yourself love, right? So Thank you so much, Joe. This has been amazing. And yeah, it brings me to the final segment of my podcast. It's called the rapid fire segment. So, yeah, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, just one word or a sentence here. So, what's one simple habit for better mental health?
Movement.
Okay, all right. What's a misconception people have about yoga?
That it's about looking a certain way when really it's about feeling a way.
All right. Okay. And movement or stillness, what do people need more of?
This one's about balance. If you're on the
Okay.
go all the time, maybe you need to rest and be still. If you're
Okay.
like bed rotting, maybe you need to move.
Oh, okay. It's really about balance, actually. Okay. So, one thing your 20-year-old self needed to hear.
That's what I just said. Like, love yourself.
Love yourself. Exactly. And okay, finally, what's one word that describes your philosophy? I think it's art. I think
It's
it's
a
art.
tough one. One word. I guess love.
Love. Okay. Yeah, yeah, that sounds more like it. All right. So thank you so much, Joe. This has been such an insightful and calm conversation. Yes, and yeah, where can listeners get to learn more of your work, your book, and what you do?
Oh, thanks so much. So, yeah, my book's Eight Limbs of Aerial Yoga, and it's on all the major online retailers. It comes out April 21st, but you could also ask for it in your local independent bookstore. I would love that. I'm Garden of Yoga on Instagram. My website's gardenofyoga.com.au, and I do teach Zoom classes as well as in-person classes. So if you want to do some yoga with me, you're welcome to do that. And I've got an online library of classes on my website. My Facebook group for creating a global aerial yoga community is called Making Aerial Yoga More Accessible, and everyone's welcome there. You don't have to be an aerial yoga teacher to join. Like, it really is about creating community with everyone. And my podcast, which I co-host with my husband Ron, is called the Flow Artist Podcast, and you can find that on all the regular podcast apps.
All right. Okay. Yes. Thank you so much, Joe. This has been amazing. And yeah, to my listeners, thanks for tuning in to Conversations with Sekani. If this episode sparked something in you, just as it did in me, make sure to share to someone you think might need this and also subscribe so you don't miss out on new episodes. Yeah. Thank you so much, Joe. You
Thank
have
you
a
so much, Joy. It was so great to
wonderful.
talk to you, and thank you for everything that you do.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. Do have a wonderful day ahead of you and stay blessed. All right. Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay.